first snowfall brings two names and one old secret together. When Rosé writes Bruno Mars on the glass, and a kiss reshapes wounds, promises, and the future in a single, unforgettable night. "I never meant to come back," Rosé whispered, her breath fogging the air, as her trembling fingertip touched the window and traced a name she had sworn she buried with the past. Snow fell like white ash, silencing the city, while behind the glass Bruno stood wordless, watching the letters form. Bruno, as if each stroke were calling him home. The sound of the last train echoed in the distance, bouncing off narrow alleys, and the scent of cold metal mixed with stale coffee from a closed cafe clung to the air. Rosé held her breath, feeling the cold seep into her bones. An old habit surfaced whenever she was anxious, counting her breaths, 4 in, 6 out, calming the thunder in her chest. She feared this moment, feared the memories awakened by the first snow. Writing that name meant admitting something she had never said aloud, that her leaving had been an escape, not courage. The glass creaked softly as she pressed her palm against it. The warmth faded quickly as the certainty she had built over the years. Bruno opened the door, the cold rushing in, carrying with it the muffled sounds of the city. He always had a habit of pausing before he spoke, weighing his words as if a wrong note could shatter something fragile. His face was calm, but his eyes carried a fear he knew well, the fear of losing again. A secret hung from his shoulders like a wet coat, a decision he had made to protect Rosé, a decision that kept him silent when he should have chased her. "Why now?" His voice was low, nearly swallowed by the falling snow. Rosé let out a small, humorless laugh. "Because snow never asks for permission," she said. She turned her face away, watching the streetlights reflect on white crystals. Each flake felt like a witness. In her mind, the night she left replayed. The call she never answered, the message she deleted, the promise she folded neatly and slipped into her jacket pocket, then forgot. Bruno stepped closer. He caught a familiar scent, bitter orange and cedar, that always brought him back to the first concert where they met. His fingers hesitated, stopping a few centimeters from Rosé's hand. He knew her quirks well. Rosé disliked sudden touch, especially in the cold, when her body remembered old trauma, doors closing, words arriving too late. He waited for permission that was never spoken, reading the language of her body, more honest than sentences. "I kept something for you," Bruno said at last. He pulled a small piece of cloth from his pocket, not a grand gift, just an old handkerchief with an embroidered R, its thread fading. "You left it behind. I never washed it." Rosé swallowed hard. Warmth crept from her neck to her cheeks. "You always remember the small things," she said, half in awe, half in pain. That was what had driven her away, how detailed Bruno was, how deeply seen she felt, how her own fear grew when love came without conditions. The snow fell thicker. The world narrowed to just the two of them, their breaths colliding, the fragile distance between them. The conflict was no longer physical distance, but time, the years that could never be reclaimed. Rosé thought of her secret. She left because she was afraid of repeating her family's pattern, love that demanded and then collapsed. Bruno thought of his own secret. He chose silence because of a subtle threat from management, a choice he believed would protect Rosé, yet instead tore them apart. "I'm sorry," they said at the same time, then laughed softly, the sound cracking in the cold air. Bruno slowly lifted Rosé's hand, giving her time to pull away if she wished. He pressed a gentle kiss to her fingertips, reddened by the cold, a brief kiss that felt like an old promise reaffirmed. Not possession, not redemption, but acknowledgement. Rosé closed her eyes, warmth spreading through her, and for the first time in a long while, her chest felt light. In her mind, the habit of counting breaths stopped on its own. "I wrote your name," Rosé said quietly as she opened her eyes. "Not to summon the past, but to make sure I'm still brave enough to say it." Bruno nodded. "I'm not here to demand anything," he said, "only to listen." They walked along the sidewalk, snow crunching beneath their shoes. The city smelled of wet wood and electricity. Conversation flowed in broken pieces, filled with small confessions. Rosé admitted she was still afraid of doors closing suddenly. Bruno admitted he still scribbled melodies on napkins when anxious. An external conflict surfaced in the vibration of Bruno's phone in his pocket, work waiting, schedules that refused to bend. He turned off the screen, choosing this night, a small choice that felt enormous. In the nearly closed cafe, they shared a cup of hot chocolate. Steam fogged the windows and Rosé wrote again, this time 2 names side by side. Imperfect, the letters slanted but real. They laughed when the barista shook their head, reminding them it was closing time. The world resumed its motion, but something had shifted. Outside, the snow began to ease. Rosé stood beneath a street lamp, looking at Bruno with a courage newly formed. "I can't promise everything," she said honestly. "That's honest enough," Bruno replied. He slipped the handkerchief into Rosé's pocket. "Take it with you, in case it gets cold." The door of the cafe closed behind them with a dull chime, and the silence that followed was heavier than the snow that still clung to the edges of the street. "You turned your phone off," Rosé said, stopping under the awning, her voice sharper now, stripped of the softness from moments earlier. "You never do that." Bruno exhaled slowly, as if bracing himself. "I do when something matters more than consequences." "That's not an answer," she shot back, finally turning to face him. Her eyes were bright, not from tears yet, but from something closer to anger. "You disappeared once without explanation. Now you show up, kiss my fingers like it's a confession, and expect me not to ask questions." The words hit him harder than he expected. He nodded once, jaw tight. "Ask them. I deserve that." Rosé folded her arms, a habit she had when she felt exposed. "Did you know I waited?" she said. "For months. Every sound of my phone felt like it might be you. And every time it wasn't, I told myself you had a reason. I defended you to people who told me you chosen your career over me." Bruno's chest tightened. "I never chose it over you." "Then why did it feel like I was the only one who lost something?" Her voice cracked, and the snow seemed to pause, as if listening. He stepped closer, not touching her, but close enough that she could feel the warmth from his coat. "Because I was protecting you in the worst possible way," he said, "by deciding for you." Rosé let out a short laugh. "Bitter and disbelieving. Protecting me from what, Bruno? From loving you?" "From becoming collateral," he replied, the word tasting like metal. "From contracts that don't care about people. From a machine that would have swallowed you whole just to stand next to me." The confession hung between them, raw and dangerous. Rosé shook her head slowly. "You don't get to decide how much I can endure," she said. "You don't get to leave and call it protection." "I know," he said immediately, "and I hate myself for it." The honesty startled her more than any excuse could have. She turned away, staring down the street where the snow had thinned into slush. "I didn't leave because you hurt me," she said quietly. "I left because staying meant becoming someone I didn't recognize. I was afraid that loving you would erase me." Bruno closed his eyes for a moment. He had feared many things, failure, scandal, silence, but not this. "I never wanted you to disappear," he said. "I wanted to stand beside you, not in front of you." Rosé looked at him then, really looked, as if searching for the truth in the lines time had etched into his face. "Then why does it still feel like we're standing on opposite sides of the same fire?" "Because some wounds don't heal just because both people are present again." Bruno knew that, but saying it aloud felt like surrender. Instead, he reached into his pocket again and pulled out his phone, turning it on, letting it light up with missed calls and messages. "This is the world I live in," he said. "No pauses, no mercy. Tonight I chose you anyway." "That doesn't make the past disappear," Rosé replied. "No," he said softly, "but it changes what happens next." A gust of wind swept between them, carrying laughter from somewhere down the block, a reminder that the world was still moving forward whether they were ready or not. Rosé felt her defenses waver. She hated that part of herself, the one that still leaned toward him instinctively, the one that remembered how safe his silence used to feel. "You still don't understand," she said, voice trembling now. "Every time I see you, I feel everything at once. Love, anger, fear, I don't know which one will win." Bruno reached out at last, not to hold her, but to place his palm over the space between them, hovering just above her chest. "You don't have to choose tonight," he said. "I'm not asking you to come back. I'm asking you to stay present." Her breath hitched. That word, stay, had always terrified her more than leave. For a moment, she considered walking away, letting the snow erase the footprints they'd made together. Instead, she leaned forward, resting her forehead against his coat. The contact was brief, but it shattered something inside her, something brittle and long overdue. "This hurts," she whispered. "I know," he said, his voice rough, "but it's real." She pulled back, wiping at her eyes with the back of her hand, annoyed at herself for crying. "If we do this," she said, meeting his gaze, "there will be no more disappearing acts, no more decisions made behind my back." Bruno nodded without hesitation. "I promise you transparency, even when it's ugly." Rosé studied him, weighing the promise, measuring it against old disappointments. Finally, she took a step back, not away, but beside him. "Then walk me home," she said. "Not because I need you to, but because I want to see if you can keep pace." A faint smile touched his lips, restrained and reverent. "I can do that." They walked together into the thinning snow, their conversation quieter now but no less intense, filled with unfinished truths and tentative hope. There were no guarantees, no dramatic declarations, only the fragile courage of two people choosing honesty over fear, one step at a time. The street outside Rosé's building was darker, narrower, the kind of place where sound lingered too long and every word felt exposed. "Stop walking," Rosé said suddenly. Bruno froze mid-step. "What?" "Stop," she repeated, sharper now. "If we're going to pretend this is honesty, then don't walk past what you're avoiding." He turned to her slowly. "I'm not avoiding anything." She laughed, a sound edged with disbelief. "You're avoiding the part where you tell me the whole truth, not the poetic version, not the "I did this for you" version, the ugly one." The word ugly landed hard. Bruno's shoulders tensed. "You want ugly?" he asked quietly. "Fine." He took a breath, then another, as if bracing against impact. "I was told if you stayed, you'd be turned into a headline. Not because of your talent, because of me. They said your mistakes would be magnified, your private life dissected, your identity reduced to who you were standing next to. And if anything went wrong, you'd be blamed first." Rosé stared at him. "So you believed them?" "I believed the damage they were capable of," he shot back. "I've seen what they do to people they can't control." Her voice rose despite herself. "So instead of trusting me, you trusted the people who profit from fear." "Yes," he said immediately, and that honesty stunned them both. "Because I was scared." The word echoed. Scared. Bruno Mars admitting fear felt almost unreal. Rosé's hands clenched at her sides. "Do you know what fear did to me?" she said, stepping closer, eyes blazing. "It taught me to pack my life into one suitcase. It taught me not to rely on anyone. It taught me that love is something that disappears without warning." "That's not what I wanted," he said, voice breaking despite his effort to hold it steady. "But that's what you gave me," she snapped. "Absence." Silence crashed between them, thick and unforgiving. A car passed at the end of the street, headlights sweeping briefly over their faces, illuminating the damage neither of them could hide. Rosé turned away first, pressing her forehead to the cold brick wall of her building. "I used to rehearse conversations with you," she said quietly. "In hotel rooms, on planes. I imagined you explaining everything, imagined myself forgiving you, but the real you never showed up." Bruno stepped closer, close enough to feel the heat of her anger. "I'm here now." "That doesn't erase the nights I cried myself to sleep wondering if I'd imagined us," she replied. "That doesn't erase the part of me that learned how to let go before being abandoned." He reached out instinctively, then stopped himself. "Tell me how to make it right." She turned, eyes glassy but defiant. "You can't make it right. You can only stop making it worse." "And how do I do that?" he asked. "By not romanticizing your silence," she said. "By admitting you hurt me, not because you loved me too much, but because you didn't trust me enough." The accusation sliced cleanly. Bruno nodded once, slow and heavy. "You're right." The admission cracked something open. Rosé's breath trembled. She hadn't realized how badly she needed him to say that without defending himself. "You still don't see me clearly," she said. "You see someone fragile you need to protect. I am not fragile. I survived losing you." His voice dropped. "That's what scares me." She frowned. What? That you didn't break, he said honestly. That you learned how to live without me. It means you don't need me anymore. The vulnerability in his words disarmed her. This isn't about need, she said more softly. It never was, it's about choice. A door slammed somewhere above them. Footsteps echoed, then faded. The city kept intruding, indifferent to the reckoning happening below. Bruno finally spoke again. I chose wrong before. Rosé studied his face, searching for any trace of performance. She found none, only exhaustion, only regret. And what are you choosing now? She asked. I'm choosing to let you see everything, he said, even the parts that make me look small. Her throat tightened. That's dangerous. I know, he said, but so is loving halfway. They stood there, suspended between past and possibility. Rosé felt the old pull, the gravity that had never truly loosened its hold. She hated how easily it returned, how deeply it still reached. You don't get a clean slate, she said at last. You get questions, doubt, anger that will resurface when you least expect it. I'll take it, he replied without hesitation. All of it. She stepped closer, close enough that their breaths mingled again. And if I decide this is too much, then I'll let you go, he said. For real this time, without excuses. The answer scared her more than any promise could have. Rosé looked up at her building, then back at him. Tonight doesn't fix us, she said. No, he agreed. But it changes something, she added. He nodded. She unlocked the door, then paused, hand on the handle. Don't disappear again, she said without turning around. I won't, he said. She hesitated only a second before stepping inside, leaving Bruno alone in the quiet street, snow melting into the pavement, his chest aching with the weight of everything finally said and everything still to come. The night should have ended there, but it didn't. Rosé stood just inside the doorway of her apartment, back against the wood, heart racing far too fast for a goodbye that was supposed to be final. The silence pressed in, loud and accusatory. She slid down until she was sitting on the floor, knees pulled to her chest, breathing shallow. For years, she had mastered the art of walking away cleanly. Tonight had ruined that discipline. Her phone vibrated. She stared at it, pulse spiking, already knowing who it was before the screen lit up. Bruno. She closed her eyes, fighting the instinct to ignore it, the instinct that had once kept her alive. But something in her, raw, reckless, exhausted, won. What? She said the moment she answered, her voice sharp enough to cut. I shouldn't have left, Bruno said, breathless, the sound of the street bleeding through the line. I know you asked me not to disappear. I'm not disappearing. I'm standing downstairs. Rosé laughed, incredulous and furious. You think showing up again is romantic? No, he said immediately. I think leaving without saying this would have been cowardly. She stood abruptly. Say what? That there's more, he replied. And you deserve to hear it now, not someday when it's safer. Her fingers tightened around the phone. You don't get to decide my timing. I know, he said. So decide. If you tell me to go, I will. But if I leave without telling you the truth tonight, it'll be another version of the same mistake. The words landed heavily. Rosé paced the small apartment, the air thick with old memories and unfinished thoughts. She hated that he was right. 5 minutes, she said finally. Outside, not upstairs. I'm already here, he replied quietly. She hung up without another word and pulled on her coat, hands shaking as she reached the stairs. Every step down felt like defiance, against her fear, against her better judgment. Bruno was waiting near the entrance, hair damp, eyes alert and too intense for someone claiming calm. The moment he saw her, something in his expression shifted, relief crashing into guilt. You look like hell, Rosé said flatly. You look like you haven't slept properly in years, he shot back. She scoffed. Careful, honesty is addictive. They stood a few feet apart, the space between them charged, volatile. Talk, she said. Bruno didn't waste a second. I didn't just stay silent, he said. I signed something. Her blood went cold. What kind of something? A clause, he admitted. One that restricted who I could publicly associate with for a period of time. They framed it as temporary, strategic. Rosé's voice dropped. You agreed to erase me. No, he said fiercely. I agreed to protect you from becoming a bargaining chip. You agreed without me, she snapped. Again. Yes, he said, and I will regret that for the rest of my life. The admission wasn't dramatic. It was stripped bare, ugly, and sincere. Rosé felt it hit somewhere deep, a place she usually kept sealed. How long? She asked quietly. Long enough that by the time I could speak freely, you were gone, he said, and I convinced myself that reopening the wound would be selfish. Her jaw trembled. Do you have any idea what that did to my sense of reality? I do now, he said, too late but fully. She turned away, blinking hard. Anger surged, then grief, then something dangerously close to longing. So what now? She asked. You broke a silence that cost me years. What do you want from me tonight? Bruno stepped closer, stopping just short of touching her. I want you to know that I didn't leave because loving you was inconvenient, he said. I left because I was weak. The word cracked open the tension. Rosé spun back toward him. Don't make yourself tragic, she said. Own what you did without turning it into a confession arc. He flinched, then nodded. You're right. I chose control over trust. I chose safety over partnership. Yes, she said, voice rising. You did. And I lost you because of it. The honesty knocked the wind out of her. For a moment, neither of them spoke. The building hummed around them, pipes clanking, someone laughing upstairs, life intruding where it wasn't welcome. Rosé broke first. I built a version of myself that doesn't need you, she said. That version is strong, stable, and terrified of you. Bruno swallowed. I don't want to dismantle her. Good, she replied, because she's the reason I survived. He nodded slowly. Then let me meet her, not the girl I remember, the woman you became without me. The request startled her. It wasn't possessive, it wasn't pleading, it was respectful. That's dangerous, she said softly. So was pretending you didn't matter, he replied. The air shifted. Rosé felt it, the familiar pull, but altered, sharpened by scars. You don't get intimacy without accountability, she warned. I'll earn it, he said, or I won't, but I won't fake it. She studied his face, searching for cracks for performance. She found exhaustion, fear, and something steadier underneath. Don't touch me, she said suddenly. He froze. Okay. But don't leave, she added just as quickly. He stayed. They stood there, inches apart, breathing the same cold air, the tension almost unbearable. Rosé closed her eyes, grounding herself in the moment. The hum of electricity, the faint scent of rain on concrete, the sound of his breath syncing with hers. This doesn't mean forgiveness, she said. I know, he replied. It doesn't mean a future. I know. It means, she paused, opening her eyes, I'm still here. Bruno's throat bobbed. That's more than I deserve. Don't say that, she snapped. Say you'll do better. I will do better, he said, steady and sure. They didn't kiss. They didn't touch. And somehow that restraint made everything more intense, more dangerous, more real. After a long moment, Rosé stepped back. Go, she said, before I change my mind for the wrong reasons. Bruno nodded, backing away slowly. Tomorrow, he asked, tentative. She hesitated, then answered honestly. Maybe. He left without another word, and this time, Rosé watched him go, not with relief, not with regret, but with a complicated, aching awareness that the story between them was no longer buried. It was awake. Morning arrived without mercy. Rosé woke to the dull gray light pressing through her curtains, her phone already vibrating on the nightstand as if the world had decided she didn't deserve a quiet aftermath. Messages stacked up, management, collaborators, an old friend asking if the rumor was true. She didn't need to open them to know. Someone had seen Bruno outside her building. Someone had talked. She sat up slowly, a familiar tightness wrapping around her ribs. This was the price she had always feared. Not love, not heartbreak, but exposure. By noon, her name and his were trending together, stitched into speculative headlines and half-formed narratives. Rosé stared at the screen, jaw set, anger simmering beneath the calm she had learned to perform. She wasn't trembling this time. She was furious. Her phone rang again. Bruno. She answered without greeting. "Tell me you didn't leak anything." "I didn't," he said immediately, voice low and controlled. "But someone did. I'm on my way." "No," she snapped. "Don't come here, not yet." There was a pause, then a quiet exhale. "They're already framing this," he said. "They're saying I came back to reclaim something." "I am not something," Rosé shot back, "and I will not be reclaimed." "I know," he replied. "That's why you shouldn't face this alone." The word alone hit harder than she expected. "I've faced worse," she said. "I know," he said gently. "I watched you do it from a distance, and it nearly broke me." Silence stretched between them, charged and unstable. "Meet me," she said finally. "Public place, neutral ground." An hour later, they sat across from each other in a quiet corner of a hotel lounge, tension crackling beneath the hum of polite conversation around them. Rosé kept her sunglasses on, not to hide her face, but to anchor herself. Bruno leaned forward, elbows on his knees, stripped of bravado. "They want a statement," he said. "They want control." Rosé laughed softly. "Of course they do." "I won't issue anything without you," he added. "No more decisions behind your back." She studied him, searching for the old pattern. She didn't find it. What she found was restraint. Fear, yes, but disciplined fear. "You realize this could cost you," she said. "Sponsors, contracts, access." He met her gaze without flinching. "I already paid the cost once by choosing silence." Her throat tightened. "And if I choose myself again?" "Then I stand beside that choice," he said. "Not in front of it, not instead of it." The simplicity of the answer disarmed her more than any grand declaration. Around them, whispers grew louder. Phones angled subtly in their direction. "This is the part where I walk away," Rosé said quietly. "The smart part." "And is it the honest part?" Bruno asked, not challenging, just asking. She closed her eyes for a moment, grounding herself in the feel of the chair, the weight of her breath. "The honest part," she said, "is that I'm tired of being brave alone." His expression softened, but he didn't reach for her. He let the words sit where they landed. When they finally stood, they did so together. No touching, no performance, just alignment. Outside, cameras flashed. Questions were shouted. Rosé paused, heart steady, and removed her sunglasses. She didn't look at Bruno. She looked straight ahead. "I won't be defined by speculation," she said clearly, "and I won't apologize for being seen." Bruno stepped forward then, not claiming her space but sharing it. "Neither will I." They didn't answer anything else. They didn't need to. That night, as the city buzzed with reactions and divided opinions, Rosé stood alone by her window. Snow had started to fall again, lighter this time. She traced nothing on the glass. No names, no promises. Her phone buzzed with one final message. "Bruno, whatever happens next, thank you for choosing truth." She smiled, not softly, not sadly, but with a strength that felt earned. Because this time, the story wasn't about disappearance or reunion. It was about two people refusing to let fear write the ending for them. And as the snow settled quietly over the city, one thing became clear to everyone watching. This wasn't a comeback, and it wasn't a scandal. It was a reckoning, and the beginning of something no headline could fully contain.